All right, we'll wait for Lee to get in here.
Hey, Luke.
Hey, Lee, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us.
Of course.
Would you guys, Lee, how about you start? Would you introduce yourself and your tile history and what you're doing now, where you're at, and then we'll go to Jane.
Lee Callewaert, co-owner of and founder of Dragonfly Tile and Stoneworks. In my 37th year of doing this, and we have worked our way into specialty work and known for a certain level of work. And it's been a long road, but we're where we want to be.
Yeah. What is that specialty work?
We do a lot of artistic work. And I know it's a kind of a vague term, but I'm sure you've seen some of it. It's whatever somebody can dream up, we will take on. Mm-hmm. We're not afraid of anything. I don't sleep much, but I say yes and then wonder why and then figure it out. Somehow it just, on the drive home from the meeting, you're going, I can't believe I said we can do that. And then a few hours later, you go, all right, I got it.
Yeah.
And that's what we're known for a lot for is just, we get the calls that people will ask, well, they say this probably can't be done, but they said, if it's possible to call you. Mm-hmm. And we do it.
Nice. Sounds like you get yourself in trouble from time to time.
A lot.
Cool. Jane, how are you? Thank you for being here. And what is your role in the business?
Well, we're yin and yang, and I run the business side of it, and Lee runs the field, and he's the craftsman, and we both know each other's roles, which is very important. As he was explaining to somebody earlier, it's like we might put our little toes over each other's line once in a while, but for the most part, we wouldn't put a whole body over that. It's like I do the business, he does that part, and it works really well. The kind of business we have is primarily high end, although we do some, others more straightforward work as well. But that clientele does require a higher level of service, and that was really one of our goals when we started the company, was that we wanted to provide a more unique high level of service with not just the craftsmanship, but the service as well. And we found that that has worked really well with our market. They know who to call. I answer the phone. We have a shop, of course, but I have a home office. And so they call me, and that's where it usually starts. And so I run that part.
Yeah. I love that you started out with the vision. Has that changed over the years, your vision for it? I mean, have you had to kind of flex, or did you? No?
No.
We were going to be
comfortable. You're comfortable?
No, non-negotiable. We were. I mean, I don't know that anybody will ever be the best, but I think if that's your goal, I think you're going to be pretty good. And I just felt like we always wanted to be the best. And that drive is really all people need. You may be the best for a second. You may never be the best, but if you're striving to be the best, you're going to be pretty darn good.
Yeah. I like that attitude. That's very cool to hear. So what challenges have you faced over the years building that company?
Jane?
No, I don't think, honestly, we deal with some of the same challenges anybody does. It's finding qualified people. It's dealing with the, things that go on through the economy. We lived through that last recession, and we were affected as well, and fortunate to be able to, get through that pretty well. I think that most of the challenges that we have are really the ones that we bring on ourselves in terms of how are we going to continue to meet each expectation when we get another client, okay, it's a new one. What are they all about? And figuring them out and knowing how we adjust to make sure that we are that particular kind of a contractor for them. I guess initially, our suppliers had to also kind of, when you have high expectations from your clients and you want to meet that, you're going to also have high expectations for your suppliers. So there was a period of time, I know that, you kind of training them a little bit to trust what you needed is what you needed, and how to work with them and how to form those relationships, which are so important. So, certainly that's always a case, but I don't really feel like we've had, I think of challenges, and it's every job is a challenge for us, and we thrive on that.
Okay.
It's,
so you embrace the challenge.
Yeah, that's what that's what we're about.
Look for it.
And just real quick, I do encourage the audience to ask questions. Throw them in the Q&A box if you could. That way they'll keep categorized, and I'll get to those here in a few minutes. But I have a few questions for the Callewaerts here. So what are your favorite trends in the industry right now, and your least favorite?
Not really I guess if we're talking about the product of tile or stone, or are we talking about the innovations in materials for prep work? If we're talking about the innovations in materials for prep work, I think it's awesome. I come from old school, everything was mud, and I still do a lot of mud, but there's a lot of times, quite frankly, it's unnecessary in what I'm doing. So some of the new products out have been very helpful. I can still walk upright because of some of the new products. I'm sure you know what that means. But as far as tile and stone itself, it's just become so stale. It's just we're really looking for a change, a little bit of a shift in the industry. And as you may know, we're working collaboratively with Joshua Nordstrom and some others to just shed some light on some opportunities that may have been missed along the way.
Yeah.
Different ways of looking at things.
Yeah.
Years and years ago, I always said, just because the tile comes in a square or the stone comes in a square doesn't mean it has to be installed that way. Yeah. You can manipulate it to be anything you want it to be. Homeowners and clients don't know that until you show them. So, we've that's kind of where we're at right now. Is I've always done it, but I think more people just need to speak up and educate their clients what is possible. Because for every odd look you might get, the next one may say, "Oh, really? You can do that?"
Yeah.
Well, that's where it starts.
I like it. I love that attitude, and I'm excited to see kind of the movement that you guys are starting, and just bringing more light, more awareness to the fact that, you can manipulate this tile and make something that's completely original, one of a kind, only you and the client can come up with the design, and that is very cool. And I actually do, that is exciting to see, some of the younger ones in this industry, or older ones like, myself, that have been installing squares for so long, kind of push ourselves because we've seen something on your Instagram page or your Facebook group. You recently started that Facebook group. Tell me a little bit about the reasons behind that and what you're looking to accomplish with that, and what it's called.
Well, it's the Guild for Tile Trade Artisans.
Tile Trade Artisans Guild.
Yeah. We've kind of played with it. But that's its main purpose, is to help individuals who see themselves maybe getting into that side of the business. And we want to be there not to showcase our work, but to help them to do it themselves and how to get started, what tools may be needed, and not to be afraid of these things. There is a place for it in the industry, and I know many people that are proof of that in this industry. So, many people might go, well, I couldn't sell that, or I couldn't. Well, that's not true. I think it comes from the lack of educating your clients, like I just said. So really the whole point behind this is to not change the industry, but shed some light on a part of the industry that is frankly a part of our past.
Yeah.
This is the artisanship in the trade used to be a lot more manipulation of the materials you were working with. Now they've taken that from out of the hands of the installer, and they've made it for you. Or you can get a sheet of anything, water jetted or whatever type of mosaic or this or that. They've kind of watered down some of the craftsmanship. The hand manipulate, I guess the manipulation of the product. There's still beautiful craftsmanship being done. That's not what I'm saying at all.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, as far as the artistic side, that has kind of fallen by the wayside because of the innovations in fabricating materials that are ready-made to be installed. However, they cannot replace the human hands and what they can create for you as an individual, a one-time piece of art that will never be reproduced.
Yeah, exactly.
So the whole goal, I guess, is just to let people know that there is a market for it. You can do this. There's a lot of people who would just love to do it, and we want to be there to support them, help them with any questions, and just be inspiration, if nothing else.
Yeah. No, and it's working. I see people excited about the new group and the new drive, your passion. And then you guys are working beautifully as a team together. Jane, let me talk to you for a minute. What is that like, working as a team, working with your husband over the years? What challenges, what have you had to overcome? And really what blessings or what positive things have come about because you are working like that team?
Well, I think you do have to be able to do that. It probably isn't we are so different and our backgrounds are so different that, and yet we have that common vision, is been so solid since the day we started. And, I have a real passion for customer service. And I guess the other part is too, we're both really comfortable working with the market that we work with. The primarily higher end market, you're often dealing with some pretty educated professionals, and they know what they want, or at least from a service standpoint, they are confident. And Lee and I are both comfortable working with them in our own roles. And they also, as I said earlier, we both know our role. We both know what we're best at, and we respect that. And of course we talk. You do work a lot because, at the end of the day, it's hard to get through dinner without by the way, you make sure you call so-and-so tomorrow, or, we have employees, so we're both involved in, caring for them and mentoring them. And so, there's definitely the yin and yang, but you better be in concert. And I think it's our vision that's probably been, and our pride. We're really proud of our business.
Yeah.
When you're feeling really proud about what you're doing and that you're making a difference, that common goal is, I think, is a real important contribution to how you work together.
Very cool. Yeah, I would agree. And you know, I'm glad you brought up the employees because tile is such a personal thing. You know, like Lee's saying, you know, you make it, you're the artist. A lot of people have trouble hiring employees and kind of trusting them in their role. And now you guys have made a business kind of based on mosaics and really artistic, you know, based business. How are you finding, training, and retaining employees?
Well, everybody has issues finding people to enter the trade, but
Mhm.
actually we feel that the kind of work we do is appealing
Mhm.
to to the young people today. And I know they were talking last week on your session about making tile sexy again. And it doesn't always have to be the really highly artistic work we do, because we just do a lot of just high end, really quality craftsmanship, which Lee always refers to as art in itself, just because of the details involved. But when they feel like they're getting involved with something exciting, Lee and I are really lucky. We have 3 young people right now who like to get up every morning, and they are there, and they do not, they are so proud of the company, the kind of work they do, the materials they get to work with. They're just energized. These 3 will always probably be in this trade, and I think they'll be really, really good. But I think that because we have that attitude about our work, and we have so much pride in it, that's contagious.
Yeah.
With the people that you find that might be interested in coming to work with you. Several of our employees, well, all of them have artistic backgrounds to some extent, but I think that that's a place where, as an industry, we need to think about that when we're concerned about where are we going to find these people and how are we going to get them attracted to the trade. Well, if it is a more sexy thing for these young people, then that does help. We found us to be very fortunate that way. Lee's a wonderful mentor, and he wouldn't say it himself, but I've observed it over the years, and he is an amazing teacher for these people, and not just in the trade, but I think in life, and that has served us well. I think too, and we care a lot for them. We've helped them through our people know that they can count on us when they're going through some things, that we're going to be there for them. We call them our kids. We have 4 boys and they're out of the nest, but now we've got these 3. And then we have boys. We have a young woman as well.
Where are you finding them? You said they have an artistic flair, or maybe a passion or interest in that. Where are you getting these out of high school, or how do you locate them?
Well, one young lady that is with us now actually started as an art major in college.
Okay.
And, she went to work for a painter when she decided, what am I going to do? And then the painter, she started talking to the painting company about, to someone that she knew there about her interests. And he said, you should talk to these people over at Dragonfly. So that kind of came to us that way. Okay. And then another one who actually has recently been promoted to a junior setter, it was just always into art all through high school and couldn't figure out. He did a little bit of tile work, and he thought, I might want to try that. And he was introduced to us, and he's going to be great,
That's cool.
And then his brother came to us.
Okay.
So those are our 3 little employees. We used to have more employees back in the day, and at our stage of life, we don't really want to. We kind of like being this size. This is just perfect. We can have a couple good projects going at a time, and that's just fine.
That works good. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm very happy to hear this story, and I do want to, share this story with the world, because everybody does seem to have trouble locating employees, like you say. We've got a couple great questions from the audience. I'll start to address here. Brianna Rodewald over in Minneapolis asked how far you travel for custom jobs.
For the most part, we're in the state, but we've gone out of state. Not as much anymore. I don't really care for it if I don't need to. And if somebody wants something, we can always make a piece and ship it if they have somebody who can actually do the installation, if it's that type of work. But
yeah, Rick Bradford actually asked, that was the next question. How do you ship that kind of stuff? I mean, that was a kind of,
well, I think once it's mounted,
so you actually mount it on like a lightweight board or something.
there's many different methods of the mounting process, which we're going to be getting into. We're working on putting together some recommendations and standards for mosaic work. So that's something that's kind of in the works right now with the industry, with NTCA. But once it's mounted and it's sandwiched between, I've done this. Your sponsor is Goldboard. I've used.
Oh, we lost him. I can talk about that. Somehow he's not there, but he's used. Are you there, hon? Oh, I don't know.
Okay, you guys are back.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
Did you hear me about the Goldboard?
Go ahead.
No, just before that.
Okay. So as long as you have something rigid that you're sandwiching it between, you're pretty safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, go ahead, Jane.
Just one comment about that, because I don't know if Lee's thinking about it this way. We have done work out of state. We have clients here that have other homes, vacation homes around the country. And as Lee said, we don't particularly love to have to go spend, a month. And we're taking our staff and we're doing this whole thing. But depending upon what you're talking about in terms of an artistic installation, it's possible to, if it's just that install and it's something we've created and designed with that client, then that's a whole nother thing. We might, if it's not a whole 2-3 bathrooms and a whole job like that, then that takes much. It really depends on how much time it's going to take. I know Joshua and Lee have talked. Joshua Nordstrom, for those of you that don't know, Joshua and Lee have been collaborating on a lot, but they have talked also about there could be times when, if a client needs a certain thing, that one or both of them could work together or apart and actually build that. I mean, they're learning how to build some things remotely because they've both been working from Alaska to Wisconsin on a number of, projects that about. But so you're kind of open to that as well. Minneapolis isn't that far, by the way, whoever was calling.
No. That's pretty cool.
We'll go there. I'm going there on Friday.
Oh, cool. Yeah, Branna works in Minneapolis at a tile shop. Maybe she can let us know which one. I think it's Artistic Tile or something like that. Yeah. Donnie D says, in what other ways do you provide a high level of service? So I'm going to assume he's talking about, other than the tile installation itself.
Well, they can talk to us whenever they want, for starters. It's being there to have a communication regularly with our clients. And we also have, where we do the typical, it's not always typical, but we're very cool about keeping things clean. We actually have performance standards that our clients, our crew all adheres to and they agree to when they are hired. And it comes right down to things like, we could be asked to do the craziest stuff on a job. And we've always told them, if they want to take the curtains, as long as it's safe and ethical, then do it. We've been asked to do some pretty crazy things with some of these.
Walk a dog, shovel the front walk, whatever. I don't care. Go upstairs and touch up the caulk in the other bathroom, whatever it is. It just forms a different type of relationship.
Yeah, we have a lot of keys to some really beautiful residences, and we're literally, I will get a phone call saying, I'm in Europe and I need to have so-and-so get in. Could you go over and let them in? And they're going to pay us by the hour to do that. We've developed some pretty close relationships with a lot of these clientele. I think that the other part is just ethics. we bill monthly, and at completion, the majority of our jobs are a T&M basis.
Mhm.
And they know, they know, and they learn to trust us, and we'll provide whatever information we need to. But I always have felt that kind of trust in us to be very ethical about how we're billing. I'm always, every month, they know when to expect it. Boom, 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 boom. That regular kinds of communication, and the practices that are continually happening at the same time every month. They just come to expect that. They realize that if they ever have any questions, they can call. So yeah, we're kind of funny that way, in that we just really do whatever they need us to do.
Well, I think
Well,
I just want to add one thing to that. I think that if you are not, don't ever approach people as a salesperson. They will see you coming a mile away. These people, their business is dealing with people. It's what they do. They can see right through you. If you're not sincere, they know it. If you're not consistent, they know it.
Yeah.
So as long as you're consistent, the trust comes very easily.
Yeah. Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. Consistency and going above and beyond. It really reminds me of something Michael Stone told me in our interview for the Tile Money podcast. He said, look, Luke, you charge a lot because you're going to provide an excellent service, and you're going to do what the customer asks you to do, even if it goes a little bit beyond the scope of your work. And in your case, you're T&M. So it's like, what does it matter? They want me to shovel their walk. All right. We're on the clock, right? So that, and people are willing to pay for that level of service. They really are. Now, if you underbid your jobs, you're never going to be able to provide that level of service. You're never going to get there, because you're always going to be, running out the door to the next job.
Yeah.
So I should mention, we do design work, and that's not something everybody does. That's definitely a different level. And we'll go source. I mean, Lee and I'll get in the truck and go to Chicago because a client's looking for a certain kind of stone. We will bring in some key trade partners for them. We're not going to be a GC here. We will literally bring that person in, or that company in. And so they call me with the craziest stuff, Luke. I mean, I'm a researcher, and I like to source different things. And I mean, I get calls from our clients for, hey, I got thinking about something, do you happen to know where I could find name it, some crazy thing? I go, I don't know. I'll look for that. But also, because we have so many good connections, they can call me, and sometimes I know exactly who to connect them with.
Yeah.
So it's a different level of, personal service.
Question for Bart Bediga. He said, how are you keeping business and personal relationships separate? Not letting business, not bringing it home type of thing.
Well, we don't have much choice but to bring it home, because I have a home office. So he comes in at the end of the day, and we usually he'll come in, and he's usually on the phone, to be honest with you. He'll come walking in on his cell phone, and I will be sitting at my computer, and I will usually have a list. And, he'll kind of look at the list and walk away for a minute and finish up his calls and do whatever. And then he'll okay, I need 1 minute. I go, okay, take a minute, whatever. Because he knows that I'm going to want to get to that list so that we can move on with the evening. Yeah. And we're pretty good about that. We can talk about, we can go out to dinner when we used to be able to go out to dinner and laugh about something that day, or we'll remember something. But, we have a pretty full life. Our family, our boys are out of the nest, but we're really close to them. And Lee and I have our other interests, and we're just really good friends. So for us, it's not hard, but business is part of who we are, but we manage it pretty well.
It sounds like get the business over with, address the issues, head on, make that list, and then punch it out, and then get on with your day. Yep. That's really cool.
We do this thing periodically when one of us starts going off on something. It's like, yep, you're right. Tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not worth it. That's cool. That's good. All right, guys. Well, our time's about up here. I really appreciate you both taking the time to share your knowledge and your history. It really means a lot to me. I know a lot of tile people are benefiting from the both of you passing on your knowledge, and I'm looking forward to continuing our relationship.
Thanks, Luke.
Sure.
We appreciate what you're doing as well.
Thank you, Luke.
Thank you.
All right. We'll go back into about another 20, 25, 30 minutes of networking. All right. Talk to you in there.
Take care.